Hello, everybody. My name is JosephRommelFries. For those of you who do not know me, in the past I have held numerous positions within the community. However, the past is, past. Currently, I am now hosting this podcast that you are now presumably listening to. Our first guest today to start off this new podcast is Alexander. Say hi, Alex.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Rommel, for doing this for me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. How have things been with Korea?
Well, Korea has been pretty good. Yesterday we hit 55 people at Pyongyang, and I feel that a relaunch is potentially coming up in the future to surpass over 10,000 members.
Pretty ambitious, I gotta say. Then again, given the current life of the community, I doubt that such a revival would not work. Anyways, as you should know, podcast I'll give you a few questions, you'll answer them best, and so on and so forth. Ready to begin?
I sure am. I honestly have always been the one asking questions, but never really answered the questions. So I think this is kind of unique because I'm always, asking away, but answering them I think is pretty unique as well for this.
Well, it's always a good way to start off. Then,
Yes.
well, this is going to be an easy one. So, first question: what is your take on the current state of affairs within the community as a whole, and what problems it's currently facing?
Well, right now the community is kind of revived. I think last September, if not last August, after I quit, the community went really downhill. I'll tell you why. And I think the community was intended to be like a huge opposition to Richter. I was the new antagonist, and Lewis was the new protagonist, and it was kind of weird. And so after I quit Roblox and after Italy was deleted, it just kind of died. I think GTR went down the hill, Nerfer Dude went down the hill, and everything just went downhill after I quit. And when I came back, it kind of revived itself, but not as much. So I believe the community is basically dying, and that 2020, 2021 will be the last years of the community. And the community will either revive itself and it will come back with a booming golden era, or it will continue to go downhill until it dies. And like most things, it will either die or it will revive. And if it does die, people will either go to World War One or sci-fi or anything else that isn't World War Two. And with the community, I think Nervadude's gone. General John is gone. Lavo is
He's
active. He's
he's in
around,
his
but
own
yeah,
he's in
he has
his
his
own
own
little
thing.
realm.
Yeah, and that's not going too well. Lavo came to me and told me he need my help to revive his realm, and I'm like, I'm doing Korea right now. Um,
Right?
and Zophiel is with Lavo, and Lewis is relaunching Allemanic
He's
Realm, which,
relaunching. Yeah,
yeah, in my opinion, and all of that is it will be good for about a month. For about maybe 3.5 weeks to 5 weeks, it will be good, and then it will go downhill again. Because I think
well,
it's gotten
it
really
really
competitive.
it really all depends on the management of the group as well. Because with Greater Teutonic Realm, I got to say this the relaunch for that. Because I was in the command structure with that, like everything for the entirety of the army, it was complete. It was going to be up and running, and so on and so forth. The only problems that really actually did face was one, the map. I mean, well, it wasn't exactly built for having civilians and such roaming around while you have a bunch of raiders going into freaking U.S. Army trucks and driving over the bridge and killing everybody.
Right.
And then two, the party was not exactly well established. And up until the point where the group was actually almost deleted, the day before the group was content deleted by someone, I forget who it was, probably Charlotte, but I was actually transferred over from the army to the party in order to help fix that up, but obviously that never went into full fruition because of the constant deletion. Lavo is, well, I don't exactly have a high opinion of this group, and that's coming from, well, one, it looks like a 1984 slash UDIS, United Districts of the Imperial State, whatever ripoff, and two, well, I don't exactly have a good working relationship with many of those in Lava's command structure, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. And I also think that groups require a lot more than it used to. Back in 2016, I made my first war group called the 916th Grenadier Regiment, which was basically a German historic regiment located in Normandy. And well, it was active. It had 20 members, or sorry, 20 activity on average, and it was purely because we had 100 people and we just had 8 daily patrols and trainings, and it worked out for about maybe a month. I would constantly recruit people at GRP every day from 10 to 10 a.m. to like 9, 10 p.m., 2 a.m. if I was ambitious enough, and that's how it usually worked, because usually he would leave the group after a bit of time, and I'd have to get new members. And nowadays, any of those kind of groups where you just recruit people out of GRP or it's like all those small business kind of groups are dead. And back in the older days, if you had over 1,000 members, your group was constantly active. I remember when I made the Richter Empire, we had over 4,000 members and we had constant 30-player activity. Or with Deutsches here, we had only 500 members, we'd have 80 people in game for a good couple of weeks. It was extremely active, extremely good. And nowadays, you look at Kronland, you look at other groups in the community, and Kronland has about 10,000 members, and nevertheless, Kronland is nearly, I would
By
almost
dying
say it's
out.
dead. Yeah, it's like,
That's it. I mean, the Cortland command structure. Let's be honest, they're not exactly active, and plus they had Nixon within them. So I mean, that was a parasite waiting to kill the whole thing off.
yeah, it's kind of
Died
scary
out.
to be honest. I mean, the fact is you could spend over $1,000 on your group, and it could easily die because of the community being that inactive, you know, and
Or you trust the wrong person.
yeah, it's either the internal or it's either the ads, but
External.
yeah. So
They have to say Canada 1940s is the only one that's still been somewhat semi-active, and that's because, well, they've become sort of like the new IRF.
yeah, pretty
And
much.
also, but given the fact, I must say though, because like as you know, my own relationship with Sovereign and so on, it was kind of okay. It's like a stock market going up and down.
Yeah,
But like I don't exactly see him as like oh that cancerous fat ass anymore.
yeah.
We're on good mutual terms now, and I've seen like he doesn't take part in active group affairs. He mainly does development now. And
Hmm.
with their new map they're coming out with, it's called what's Artem Crossing. It actually does look quite promising, I must say that.
Yeah, I think it's promising, and I think that groups that have over 50,000 members just cannot die. TNG had about nearly 18,000 members, and they were active every day with about 50 people online until they got sabotaged over 1 million times because when they had a civil war and their game kept getting attacked like every day. It was almost as bad as exploits. There was random guys owner admin going around the game spanning everyone every other day. And after 2 months of their group getting attacked again and again, they still could manage to rally like 50 people in game or 60 people around there. And I think if you want to have an active and successful group, you just have to spam the ad system until you get to about over 10,000 members. And once you reach that mark, you kind of can have sustainable activity in game. But before then, you have to constantly launch ads to get an active group unless you have a
Yeah,
dedicated fan base these days. So,
you have to blow in money before it becomes self sufficient.
yeah. And
I
that's my
mean,
take.
even the point where you can blow money though, that's the thing. Like, look at the IRF now. They've still expanded greatly, but
Hmm.
and their community is still active, but they've lost revenue
Yeah.
in the past few years. It's gone to downward spiral, and like Casey, he couldn't pay his own devs at sometimes because that's how bad revenue was becoming. So even spamming money on ads sometimes it doesn't work.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work because I remember in
Yeah,
the old Korea, I was spamming the ad system with like 10,000 every couple of days and we weren't getting it much. Even right now, we launched 10,000 yesterday and we only got around 120 members from 10,000 ads. And
I think it also has to deal with Roblox being too selective for certain games, like the clickbait games and whatnot.
mhm,
I think it also has to deal with that because you see all those shitty games on the popular page, and it's like, what the hell is this?
yeah, yeah. So that's my take on the community right now. I think has a lot of potential, but it's not going very well, sadly.
Not a lot of upstarts, so it's a shame. But what can you do?
Yeah.
All right, alrighty then. On to the next question. Next question is: over the past couple of years, many people have accused you of many such things. Now, no, I know what you think might be going somewhere, but trust me, it isn't. Question is: what accusation have you faced that is the most baseless one of them all, and who did it come from?
Yeah, there's been a lot of accusations over the past year. Now, recently there hasn't been anything new, has not popped up as much. There have been some recent ones, and they was accused of exploiting recently. Yeah, it's accused of exploiting recently by the
I remember that
lobbyist.
Karavik.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Karovex did. But other than that, I haven't really been accused of anything. I haven't been. I last time I was accused of something, before the whole Karavec thing was a month ago by not OMG Bomb. OMG Bomb didn't accuse me.
Oh,
It was
OMG.
Montelope. Montelope accused me of stealing people's models and stuff, and I didn't. The Pyongyang map was based off of Ado, and Ado was built off of Ethan Rituri, which is one of my guys, Sharuku Kito, which is
Yeah.
also one of my guys, and Pharaoh. And so it's not really a copied map. The guys that built Ado were my developers, and Pyongyang is using some of the same models from Ado, but like that's only like a couple buildings. There's like 6 buildings
Yeah.
at Pyongyang that are from Ado itself. We reconstructed a
I
lot of
can
the
I can
buildings
vouch
to
for that.
yeah,
I can vouch for that.
yeah, we've built it, we've constructed it, and it's an original concept with original buildings in the game. But the most baseless accusation is I want to say it's the pedo one because I'm obviously not 18, and there's no concrete proof of me. The accusations, there's just no concrete proof about it. It's just a video that claims it's me and claims that the other person across the screen is 13, which there's proof that in the chat logs it was person claimed to be 15 or 16 or something like that in the document. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's not the most
Chris
baseless claim.
Hansen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have
It's
the
not
chat
the most
logs.
baseless claim. The most
Yeah.
baseless claim that became relevant is either the one where I killed a cat when I was 5, or the other one where to become a diehard loyalist you have to go into a actual little circle jerk for some
Oh
reason.
yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
those are the
Yeah, you
two.
become an outer core, inner core member, something like that.
Yeah, you have to do it to one of my. Apparently, I have people in the basement where I take out, and it's like, come on. And people actually believed it. In GTR, the people actually sucked in all that propaganda and believed it. Like, and it's the most baseless claim ever because this
Oh
guy
god.
just sat there telling stories around a campfire, and people would just believe it. So that's what I
Yeah.
would say is the most baseless claim I've ever heard. Killed a cat when I was 5. And on top of that, said that we have circle jerks literally on
I,
video call. Like,
I mean, that second accusation, like it feels like if General John was being accused for that, like I kind of expected.
yeah, that's expected from
Yeah.
General John or Albert or any of the other unironic because it's there's so much proof on those guys. There's proof every day on those guys. For me, it's one accusation. It's one video that even the guy that created the video, Valerium, says it's fake. It's like it's just
It's
yeah,
nonsense. It's nonsense. Like, oh god, we hate this guy so much.
yeah,
But yeah, like,
yeah,
okay, and then you're gonna latch on to even baseless theories or supposed accusations and whatnot. It's like,
yeah.
what the hell? This is wrong. Come on,
And
guys.
even if
You're
the
bet.
video was real, I would have been 16 at the time. So it doesn't. It's just ridiculous. But that's my opinion on all of the accusations. The most baseless one, anyway.
I've had some pretty stupid ones.
Yeah.
What was it? Let's see here, Sovereign. If you're watching this, you know it. Election rigging. Uh, attempted stealing the funds. Attempted DDoS and whatnot. I can't even do.
Right.
Working with Alexander, trying to steal the group and whatnot. You remember Alexander Thanos, right? That jackass. He's working with Odd One again.
Is he actually back
Oh yeah, I have a picture of that. I have a picture of him. He like showed up at General John's place with a bunch of people.
in real life, or like his game?
In the game, in
Okay,
real
I was,
life.
I was
What?
gonna say, I wasn't sure what it meant because I mean, okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. And sending.
Oh,
First
interesting.
follow Hohenzollern. Yep, that's the date of the screenshot. Okay, that's the March 28th. Okay. Yep, that was March 28th when that happened.
Interesting. I haven't heard about much about him recently. I heard he made
Huh?
some Arab group and then it failed, and then disappeared. The last I heard
Ba-
about him.
Ba'athist Syria.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, let's role play Saddam Hussein next group.
Yeah,
Ugh.
freaking. I
Oh
don't even
god,
know.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, third question now. As a lot of people know, right now Korea is going through an election. Question is, what do you think the next premier must do to help solve the issues within Korea?
Ah. Well, the reason why I have a premiere is because I'm really busy with stuff outside of Korea. In the beginning launch, I dedicated a month of my time towards Korea. But now that it's been a month, you know, I'm not bored of Korea. I wouldn't be bored of Korea. I've been doing Korea. I did Korea before I wasn't bored. I never really got bored of Korea. The last Korea was owned by Lavo, and Lavo's account got deleted. So it's like, why would I launch ads for a group with a dead owner, right? That makes
Yeah,
no sense. That's why I did Italy.
and then you can't even access the funds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You can't do anything. You can't change anything. You can't do anything
I
if
mean,
you're.
when Nerfers Group got deleted, what lost 20,000 funds on the whatever that TWP whatever it is, 20,000 Robux were lost on that group because the account got deleted.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I think for the premier basically runs the group. And I do elections because the people would know more than I do about who is more competent, who is more of an intellectual, who can do what they can do to resolve issues, right? So the last premier that we had, Arx was a good candidate, except when he got into power, he just sat there and did literally nothing. He did no policies. He didn't make any laws. He didn't host any meetings. The group almost died because of him. And the reason it didn't die is because of the war effort. If we weren't at war with other nations and having raids every day, the group would have been dead. Because that's the only thing going on. The Supreme Commander was hosting coups at Pyongyang, hosting raids at different other maps. There was actual stuff going on in game and out of game. And so Oswald kept the group active and basically ran the group, and the party chairman I had to replace because he was going inactive as well, and he was caught having issues. So it was kind of a cluster. So I think that for the premier, what we need most is just to run the group. If you can be a figurehead, well, I'm obviously the owner, so I'm the main
You're the main
honcho. Yeah, I'm
figurehead.
the main figurehead. But if the premier can also be a figurehead and be there when he needs to be there and run and do things for me, that would be great because I have to constantly go to war meetings and make sure that we're coordinating war efforts to the west and east. I have to constantly make sure that my high command is doing their job, and that our generals are loyal, and that our high ranks are loyal. And if the premier can manage that for me, that's one thing. The other thing I think they need to do is to, actually, like I said, run the group. Not just are they going to manage the group, they need to administrate the group. Make sure that immigration office is doing their job, make sure the army is doing their job, make sure the party's doing their job. And if they're not doing their job, they need to make sure that they do their job. So that if things do go to shit, they can actually get involved and resolve it, because that's their job. They basically run the group. If they need something, go ahead and ask me. But I'm here to help them. I'm not here to steal their work or to, do anything else. I've been running groups for the past 4 years. I've been running groups. I've done that. I've done that 20, 100,000 times. I've micromanaged, I've macromanaged. I've done everything I could in my career on Roblox. And I believe that out of generosity, I'm giving other people the opportunity to run a group led by me. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna come in game every now and then and make speeches and do inspections and attend raids and coordinate things and give orders. I might even tell the premier to do something, obviously. And the premier's be loyal to me for obvious reasons. But it's so little. The stuff that they need to give me is so little that, I don't see much of an issue with the premier role. If they can do their job, if they can remain active, they're fine. And obviously, the only way to fail as premier is for the group to fail. If the group doesn't fail, then you've done your job. You can go and do whatever if the group is active. If the group is dying, if there's not stuff going on, then you failed your job. And an instant election will take place to replace you. And every month or 2 months, there's an election, just to make sure people are satisfied with the current premier that is in charge. And that is my opinion on the premier role and the expectations that I have for them.
I completely agree. You gotta really be hands on. You can't just be some lazy fuck. You can't be Herman Goering, sitting in his chair in Karen Hall, injecting freaking morphine while he's playing around with his little train set in the attic.
Yeah, yeah. In Arcs, I don't think I can really blame Marks. His state, Texas, got reopened because of coronavirus like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. I don't freaking know when, but his state got reopened. And literally everyone from Texas that was in my group retired. Um, and Jillian, well, no, Jillian's from. Is he? I thought. Never mind. So yeah. Anyway, a bunch of guys from Texas retired from my group, and Arcs went inactive, and he had to resign. And I don't really blame him. He didn't become a traitor to the state. I respected him for his work, but it was stupid. Why would you run for premier and then not do anything once to become premier? He got rid of the guard commander, and the new guard commander, as good as he was, the guard eventually went downhill and died. It's stuff like that that I just didn't really like. But that's
Well, yeah, well, with this whole entire thing, I mean, don't, I mean, I believe that we shouldn't have reopened as early as it is because China's already seeing a second wave. We're most definitely going to see a second wave
yeah.
because it's all based around economics and politics, bureaucracy at its finest. But I won't get into that now.
Hmm.
All right. Fourth question now. What do you think the current community must do in order to revive itself from its current stagnation? Do you think the measures must be taken to revive community, or do you think it should basically implode on itself and so the whole system eventually purges, dies, or resets itself?
Well, I think what happened is I predicted this 2 years ago, Rommel. I said that eventually, in my video, unfortunately it's not up anymore, but back then, I also made a prediction last September, made the same prediction, and I said that a year from now, all the small groups will die, and all the big groups will soak up all the members from the small groups, and it'll literally just be super groups like 1984 in charge of everything. And that's exactly what's
And
going on right now. Any small group that you create will eventually die. If you do not have over 100,000 funds to launch ads, if you do not have a following of at least over 120 people, then your group will die, because that is what it takes these days to have a group sustain at least 2 months of activity. Um, now it's going as low as a month of activity, because back during GTR, GTR could sustain 2.5 months before it died, and the Allemanic realm could only sustain a month, and the Fire Realm was sustained less than a month, and the new Allemanic realm under myself sustained less than a month as well. And GTR sustained only a week because of its deletion, but now UIS can only sustain around a month. So now even big groups are struggling. And you see groups like Viking Law Soviet Union soaking up over 600 people in game. And IRF was the original Viking Law. They would soak up
yeah,
around 200 people in game. Well, they would get to 600, but that was like on their launch. When they launched, they had like 600 people in game, but down the road, it decreased to about 200 people. So they soaked up people in IRF, but IRF wasn't that relevant. Now we have IRF soaking up people, Viking Law soaking up people, USM soaking up people. Everyone is soaking up all the members, and they're all getting extremely active. And literally now it's all the supergroups, all the big business, just like the real world, that are in charge.
hmm?
And it's funny because in the real
I
world,
mean,
it's the same thing. Small business is struggling and big business is dominating. The rich get richer. On Roblox, it's the same thing. The rich are getting richer on Roblox. There's no small business. And now groups that are middle class or medium like mine that are in between, they're not super groups, but they're not you know typical
yeah,
groups, are struggling. Like Lewis and Lavu and me and Cronland and everyone else is struggling because all the supergroups that have over 100,000 members, or over 20,000 members, like Canada and Viking Law and everyone else, is soaking up everything. And
and then you had people like General John. Like I have screenshots right here. He tried to annex a small
yeah,
German group.
that's the thing, is now small groups have became nation states. And nation states is a game where you basically create a nation and you role play. Or it's like World Conquest. It's literally leaders making small nations with 100 members or so, and then going around and acting like they're relevant, is basically how World War II is right now. General John is going around trying to conquer small groups and stuff like
Oh,
that,
that's the
but he
wrong
has
one.
no actual army. And then you have groups like
He did have an army, but like they got tired of his crap.
yeah,
They
yeah,
got
his
tired of
army
his
is the
crap.
size of a pebble. You can't even rally that many people, and that's just the state of the community right now. So I think the measures that need to be taken to resolve and revive the community is really originality. I think that originality, new concepts, new maps, new ideas will revive this community. Because nowadays, you either take the crash grab route, which works only half of the time, or you take the typical route. And the reason why groups like Rome are so active, sorry, genres like Rome or Game of Thrones are so active is because of
Innovative.
yeah, they're innovative. They have a lot of different unique features. The Roman genre has a crafting feature. They have crafting in-game features. They have legions. They have, different aesthetics and all sorts of different aspects in that genre. And in Game of Thrones, you have different houses fighting for control of the entire kingdom of, Westeros.
Steros or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
To those out there, I've never watched the series. Please don't kill me.
yeah. You have genres like these that are very innovative, they're very original, and they're like typical war games. And then the War 2 genre is literally just you have your typical war group game. It's either a raid map or a border map.
Sitting
You just
map or
patrol
whatever.
there for a couple of hours. You have a training every couple of hours. You have a raid maybe once a week, and that's all it is. You do that and you repeat it every single day, every single week, every single month down the road for the next year. And that's all these groups have became.
It's boring.
And that, yeah, it gets boring. It's like playing Battlefield 5 for like an entire year, you know?
Okay, now granted, Battlefield 5, well, Battlefield 1 is still replayable and
Yeah,
enjoyable.
everyone's
Enjoyable and
replayable, but,
enjoyable.
if you want to do that play style, you need multiple maps. If you want to be the work where you have a raid map, you have to constantly release a new map every month, and that can get tiring. The aesthetic can get tiring. Everything in the group can get really boring really fast. And then Viking Law is just a cash grab, but you win game, there's a garbage feature. There's a border. Then he has a border map. He's kind of like a typical group, but there's a
Yeah.
lot more aspects. He has a government that actually functions. He has foreign affairs. But that's not the best example because it's like the most crash grab group that there
it's
is.
it's what's this? It's like
Yeah,
literally Eric Model's group, but Sovietized.
yeah.
I don't
It's
know that
kind
word.
of cringeworthy, but people are entertained. They go in there and they constantly have something to do. Is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying be like Viking Law and go full on cash grab, but it's not how other
You
groups are.
gotta have the dedication to innovate. And
Yeah,
that's why I always got tired of like even with tanks, like before like GDR came out, not no Elementic Realm came out with those pretty freaking good tanks with actual crack physics.
hmm
Like I was always tired of that. Like, okay, I want to do this, but it's not playable. They always
yeah,
freaking flip over on the slightest pump. Or
yeah,
okay, how about we expand into this? Or why are you reusing all these assets? It's actually boring. It's nothing. There's nothing new to it.
yeah,
There's Lava's problem right there. All his tech is outdated. Freaking Wolfenstein guns suck ass. Uh, the map design is extremely bland and tasteless.
yeah,
And there's not a lot for civilians to do other than head over to the front gate, get recruited, join the army for a gun.
yeah.
If,
That's
if
pretty
someone were
much.
to sorry, if someone were to create like a map, like let's say you have Pyongyang province, let's put it that way. You have your outskirts. Basically, you spawn it. You get off a bus stop, get into you're in your town and whatnot, your workers' town paradise. Get onto the bus, and then you have so many different things to do. Like, okay, hey, get a job at this fast food restaurant and whatnot. Like, you don't have to join a group or anything to do it, but like it's sort of like welcome to the town of Robloxia.
Yeah,
Remember that?
hmm
Sort of like that.
yeah. I
So like
think
that's
that.
like the main staple that like produces the activity in the game, and then you have you have the armed forces that are like in there, like, hey, you want to do this? We have all this cool stuff here.
Yeah,
Here. We can get you set up. We can get you recruited and whatnot.
yeah. I think the change that needs to take place is that war group games are way different than front page games, and that's the issue. Is war groups are basically role play. And I think if war group games change, they made it so that the game that everyone patrols on is like a typical front page game, you know, then they will be more playable, more active. Games like our next map for Korea is going to be a prison map. It's going to be like a prison role play where people get into spawn in a prison or in a
Escape the
labor
gulag.
camp. It's kind of a meme, but it's a good meme.
It might be. Yeah. Okay, you know what? Okay, I was gonna say that might be right for content deletion because you know how Roblox
Well,
might
that's
be,
why
but
we're
you know,
calling it Prison Simulator and not Labor
prison
Camp Simulator.
simulator,
Yeah, Prison Simulator. You know.
Korean no, it's the Chinese that have the concentration camps now.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so Prison Simulator we're doing because people might actually find it appealing and might have fun with it. It'll be similar to how the SCPF genre does their stuff. It'll be you spawn in a prison, you'll have your escort, it'll be escorted to certain rooms to do work, then you'll go to another room for experimentation, blah blah blah. But there's a twist. You can escape. So if you escape the prison camp, you get into a city. And then in the city, it's like Pyongyang. It's a typical roleplay city with gang, or not gangs, but paramilitaries at the restaurant, at the barracks, all the spawns and the apartments and everything else. Then
Hmm?
there's actually a border. This isn't any border, it's actually a DMZ between Russia and Korea. So Viking Law is going to have his group, literally his group, line up on the other side, guarding the border, and the Koreans are going to have their military line up on the other side of the border. It's going to be literally a DMZ, and they're going to have to
Pretty
cross it.
cool.
So
I
yeah,
remember some nations tried to do that once, but it was like the modern day community, and well, that never really succeeds.
yeah, well, doing a port, or sorry, not a port, but a peer border map can get
Yeah,
boring because sending in a border for the rest of your year for a group is going to kill the activity really quickly compared
yeah,
to
it
prison
is.
roleplay where you have random animals and
Like it branches
cages.
out and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it just goes, it just spirals out. It's a lot more dynamic, a lot more intense and exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. There could be
Hmm?
a disease that gets out of control and infects the entire prison. We got to lock it
Oh,
down.
that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Like you, like what was it, Robio? You have like a little Robile section there where you
Yeah,
like
I've
have a
heard. Yeah,
biolab. Do it. Have a biolab there. You can
you know,
inject him into the
stuff like
prisoners.
that is fun for my community and it's fun for the Roblox community because it's a prison break. I
Innovate.
guess, yeah, it's innovative, and that's exactly what other groups need to do. No more border simulator, no more game simulator where it's like a raid map where you're patrolling the raid map and it's flags.
Military
You got to
simulator and all
innovate.
that.
You got to innovate and get original ideas for your game you know? And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not doing a border, I'm doing a prison, and it's innovative and it's attractive to people on the front page. And if a border game works for you, then do a border game. If a training map works for you, then do a training map because US uses a training map and somehow they get activity, and Viking Laws uses a border map and they get activity. And I guess Alberta is a raid map and they get activity. So I guess you don't really need to be innovative, but if you want to revive this community, you got to be innovative like I am, and you got to get these ideas out there, presented, and executed. And if you do that, this community will, I promise you, will revive itself for another good 2 years. Another 2 years, it'll
And then
survive,
you'd have to
maybe even longer.
innovate more.
Yeah, they need to innovate more ideas, and figure it out. You got to organize. I think that a good group idea would be a World War II Civil War group where it's like four nations, kind of like 20 Gross Civil War group, right? Where they had that
Hmm?
one game and the two factions fought for territories and stuff. Kind of like that. I think if someone did a group, Blood and Iron, or not Blood and Iron, God, I just copied that. Or I don't know,
Oh
Blood and
god.
Soil, or Death or Dishonor, a unique name for a group, and turn it into like
Like
the Spanish Civil War or an alternative historical Germanic Civil War between German socialists and German nationalists. And you have four
oh they
factions and they're all fighting on
the
one map.
Victorian community has the
Yeah, yeah,
Victorian community,
something
like the
like
Wars of
that.
German Unification.
Yes, kind of
I
see
know the
something
owner of
like
that group.
Interbellum is an example of what I'm talking about. Groups like those got really
Oh,
active. They would get 20 people online, and they only had 100 members for their groups. Like I remember the America, like Murnau's America had like 100 people like in the group, and there was like 30 people online, and all the groups were active. No matter how many guys were in the group, they were active. That really revived activity, really got people moving, but it died because of all this drama going on. You know. Um.
yeah.
So that's my intake on the community and reviving it.
Okay. Well, sort of like you can say it's a follow up question,
Mhm.
but like it's cool to have a large group and whatnot. But well, let's say the community is too far from being revived and so on and such, or the community as a whole dies, but your group is like standing above the ashes, but it's the only one there. It's
Um,
large, but like there's nobody to raid. Would you think of switching genres like the IRF, creating a whole new group to move to the next genre?
Um, so what are you saying? Are you saying like, what do we do if there's like, if community
Like if you
dies?
have to switch to community,
Ah,
they switch to genre. Yeah.
well, if the Witcher community did die, what I would probably do is I would either go to the sci-fi genre and can revive that because sci-fi genre has a lot of potential. I know Lewis tried to do that and it died because his members aren't as devoted. No offense to Lewis, he has a good following base, but they weren't really that devoted to do sci-fi. Um, but I think the sci-fi genre is potentially it could go pretty far, and it is kind of active. I think there's a group called UHD, and UHD was a really active sci-fi group that lasted a good year or two, maybe longer if I'm not mistaken. And
Oh,
it
the
was
IRF basically moved there
yeah,
as
and the
well.
IRF is in the sci-fi genre, and there's a lot of sci-fi groups that are out there, but they're underrated. Sci-fi, in my
Yeah.
opinion, is underrated. And that brings up Star Wars and Halo. I
Oh,
think
the Star Wars community. Oh
Star
boy.
Wars is overrated, but sci-fi is underrated. And
You
so,
know, we got declared war on. Like Canada got declared war on by the Empire, an Empire group in the back when I was prime minister. We got declared war on them. It was like a huge group. Like we showed up in their Star Destroyer. They have a bunch of stormtroopers everywhere.
the Chinese space, or not the Chinese, I just called Canadians Chinese. The Canadian
The
space
Chinese.
program.
Yes. Oh, it was freaking funny, and they try to raid us. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, but that'd be funny if I created like a space division for Korea, the Korean
Oh, that was
space
funny.
program, and just launch to the moon. Dude, I should
Launch
actually
them over
do
the sea.
that.
Launch them over the Sea of Japan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I would either do sci-fi or I would create my own mini community. It wouldn't be like World War II because I think if you try to do a large World War II community, it will not go very far.
Oh, never.
But
That won't
I
ever
think
work.
if you
People have tried
do
that before.
I think if you do maybe a European or like I said, a civil war in like a nation kind of community, it could go pretty far. Because if you have a world community, it's just way too big to be messed with, in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
that was the issue with Interbellum was like everyone was so spaced out. You had an America and you had a Germany and Japan and all that, but it was like you couldn't really do very
Couldn't do
much.
anything. It was too small to really even.
Yeah,
I mean, it was small. It was active, but it was too small to actually be something major and whatnot. It's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
idea, but yeah.
And so yeah, I'd probably make like a mini World War II. I'd probably do the Spanish Civil War. I'd do a European alternative history World War II kind of thing,
The,
and I
the
would
Condor Legion.
yeah, yeah, something like that. I would have people do. And I think that would be pretty fun because it's not really reviving the community that much. It's kind of my own community, but at the same time, it's something. It's not very much, but it's still something. So I would do that if everything kind of just died. And if that didn't work out, I don't know, I'd probably take a break from Roblox because I don't know. I mean, if everything just dies, let it rest. This game's addictive. Um, and the
Yeah.
only way to kind of get rid of the addiction is by playing it because I get bored really, especially in quarantine. I get bored way too easily, and
Definitely, especially since you got to
when
pay a
you
whole
play
bunch of
this
money for
game
this.
for a very long while, you get bored of it, and that's what I'm not really bored of it right now, but I will down the road. And when I do get bored, quarantine will end, and I won't be, I could easily quit right there. Well, not quit, but take a break for a long while because you can't really quit the game. But
Yeah.
if the community dies, it will be nostalgic, but it'll be an end to this curse of an addiction of a game because then, it'll force everyone to actually do stuff in real life and quit
Get off their
playing.
asses.
Yeah, in my opinion. Real life isn't that bad. It's not that addictive. I've seen people quit this game for more than 2 years, and they hop on.
And then come back and
Yeah, they
whatnot.
come back, but it's like a short while. Like Tojo, the leader of Japan, quit, and he
Yeah.
came back for maybe a week or a couple of weeks or something. Then he went back. That's why I say you can't quit, because even if you do quit, you can avoid the game, but you will always maybe come back for a day or two, if not another couple of months, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because it's that nostalgic. It's just so nostalgic, and usually things that are nostalgic you can't really play again. A lot of my old nostalgia came from the PlayStation 2, and I still have my console, but it's like the games are so old, the console's so old. It's kind of hard, in my opinion, to replay the games. But anyway, yeah, that's my take on that.
All right, sixth question now.
All
What
right.
group currently within the community has the best overall command structure and, well, game plan included? But, like, what's your opinion on that? What's your take?
Um. Well, I think that Korea. I mean, I'm pretty much biased because anything that I think is great is not on the platform, and that's why I create it, and that's why I make groups because I don't think anything is good enough for my liking. Um, if there was a group that I really appreciated its aesthetic, I really appreciated its leadership, I really appreciated its ideas, its player base, its concept, and I believe I could get very far in it, I would actually probably join it without even asking very many of my own people. But I haven't seen anything like that. Usually there's always a few free models, or there's a bad aesthetic, or there's a trash leader or leadership, or there's a stupid ideology. I'm telling the truth, there always is something
Yeah,
wrong about a group that I don't like. There's always
I
something wrong
don't
with
blame
it.
you.
There is no perfect group, and that's why I have my own community. It's something that I can, be satisfied with. So I would say Korea, but for the sake of an unbiased and a kind of a better review or podcast, you know, I think Vactus or Vactovia is a good example of
Oh,
a good command structure, a dedicated player base, good tech, good concept, an original concept, may I add, and they've been around
yeah,
since 2009.
that's
Now, they're controversial, but that's not going to stop me. That's
yeah,
not going to
screw the
stop me.
controversy.
Yeah, still the controversy. I'm going to
This
say
is
right
it's
now,
an honest opinion.
yeah, they might be a bit of a cult because I heard rumors that they have like a blood cult. I don't know if it's irony or not, and I don't really know if it's true or not, but I don't really care because, well, I don't know. I think they're being ironic and just trying to scare people off because I have guys that used to be in the Vactovia and they said that they were kind of chill. Like when they weren't in the game, they were chill, but like once you're in the game, it's full on serious mode. They did take it very seriously, but they weren't like that
Yeah.
24/7. They all had personalities. They're not robots. They all have their own lives. They all have a personality. So I think Vectovia is probably the best example, but I never joined them because it's just not my thing. I don't really have a thing for RCL clans. Um,
Yeah.
and it takes years. It takes years to dedicate your time to get in there and become an actual armyman. And I don't really want to do that. I have a life, I have things to do, and I think if I really wanted to join them, I should have done it 10 years ago. But joining a group that has such a dedicated player base over 11 years of loyalty, and then I come in and I'm fresh meat like that, I'd have to spend another 10
That
years to
says
get up
something.
there. It's just not my thing. I'm better off with my own projects anyways. And that's
Yeah.
my opinion on that question.
Okay, I can't blame you. You were honest, and to be honest, yeah. If I had to join Vactovia, well, I would have been 6 when they started out.
Yeah.
I didn't even discover Roblox until 2010. And from then on, it was just like, okay, every single freaking Roblox game I play would be like one of those crackpot Titanic games.
Mhm.
That's my thing up until the first account I created was in like
Yeah.
2012, 13, whatever.
Mhm.
Oh, how does the time fly?
Yep.
All right, now to the 7. Anyways, you have had many associates that have worked with you over the years, and some have left the community or the platform as a whole lately. Which one person do you miss the most, and which one person that you've worked with you absolutely despise the most? Doesn't have to be in the general World War II community. It can be in any other community that you have worked within.
Uh, well, I must admit, that if this was a couple months ago, I would say Strangelove, and I know this is also controversial because no one likes him anymore. And that's why I say a couple months ago, because now I don't really think, I don't think the same. But well, it was fun.
He-
He was very
he-
chaotic, and the chaos that he
well, I mean,
produced, you know,
wasn't he like I didn't he have to go to rehab?
yeah, he was not the most mentally sane person, but he was still
He
pretty
was
chill.
not.
I spoke to him and he was pretty chill, and he was chaotic, and I think it produced interesting. But now that I don't think that anymore, I would say despise and want or miss the most. Well, I want to say someone relevant, but I can't really think because everyone is here. Everyone is literally here besides Nerfer Dude. And I don't really
Yeah,
miss Nerfer Dude because Nerfer Dude did come back and it failed. If he came back again, he would fail again. Because Nerfer Dude, he's just lost.
I
Um,
mean,
I would say Turbine, but Turbine came back and he's been doing pretty decent. There's a lot of people I would want to say, but they're already back. There's Zombie Patrol.
yeah.
Zombie Patrol was interesting because he led the communist community back during the Lewis Otto and Nerferdude days, back when they fought each other. There was Zombie Patrol, and he kind of fought against Lewis, and that was all interesting. But he tried coming
Is this
back
old
here.
podcast still
Yeah, it's still up.
up? I remember. I think they deleted Lewis's podcast, but
Yeah, I'm not really sure myself, but anyway, yeah, it's he keeps trying to come back and he keeps failing, and I don't really know for anyone that's relevant who I would want back in the community that's quit, you know, that I really miss. Um,
I kind of like to see an IJA revival, to be honest.
yeah, IJ Revival would be pretty cool because now I have Korea and there's more Asian factions. There's an active China, there's an active Korea mine, there's a
I
there's
think
Anzac,
there's a Manchukuo,
there's a
Manchukuo.
Manchuria, there's a Turan, aka Mongolia. Um, there's even a Vietnam. There was a Vietnam group that popped up a couple weeks ago. Two
Oh
Vietnams.
boy.
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh is in town. So I think an IJ revival would go really well for 2020. I know it's very nostalgic and I know it's hard to redo again, but in this right
Let's see
now,
more free ranks.
yeah, it would honestly do really well for 2020. I think it would really be active and it would dominate most of the Asian community. It would just dominate, in my opinion, most likely. But once again, I wasn't. I mean, I did IJ. I already did a Japan group, and that kind of cured my Japanese nostalgia. Because I was an IJ and an alt account for a good couple of months. I was on my main too, I think, for about a week. But I don't know. I guess I kind of do miss Tojo, and yeah, because I can't think of anyone else. I mean, besides my own members, I don't even know if I miss any of my own people that have already retired. I mean, my Foxy KJ
Retired,
and
quote
stuff.
unquote.
Yeah, cool, retired. Well, because all of the old guard that has retired, compared to the new loyalists, the old loyalists weren't as fanatical. Because you usually think of the old guard as the most loyal, but the old guard for
Yeah.
me wasn't the most fanatical. Most of the old guard had betrayed me, and they weren't as loyal as my current loyalists. My current community is a lot more loyal. The old guard wasn't as loyal, so I wouldn't say I miss any of my old guard that has retired, and there aren't any new guard that have retired um, officially. I think one guy, Recruiter, retired, and I kind of yelled at him, like, dude, you've been with me for only like 5 months and you want to retire? Like, this is kind of stupid, but okay. And there's a guy named
Yeah.
Sahunk, not Skunk, but Sahunk, and he was like a very, very liberal, progressive guy. And he said he wanted to retire because he's not very formal. He's very progressive. He's very liberal. And he said that since we're very conservative, we're not compatible for him. And he
Uh,
retired, and I don't really miss him that much either. He was kind of an asshole
yeah.
to me and my other members. Um,
I mean, I'm somewhat liberal, but come on. You
yeah,
gotta
well, I
find the
mean, they're
happy
all,
medium.
yeah.
You gotta find the happy medium.
Mhm. But for someone I despise that I don't want to come back, I don't know. Has Lopey quit? Because I heard he's been gone. Where's Lopey been? I haven't heard from Lopey.
I have not gotten in contact with Lopi in how long.
If Lopey is gone, I'm gonna say Lopey, but I don't really even know it. So if not Lopey, then who would I despise? Like hell, I don't know. Anyone that's quit that I despise and I want them to stay quit. I honestly can't think. I can't really think of anyone that I really despise. I don't really despise that many people or hate that many people. In all honesty, I think I heard that Lions or the one scammer guy, the Malenkov guy, Mr. Malenkov quit.
Yeah, I remember him.
If he quit, then and if Lopi didn't quit, then I'm gonna say him because he's a scumbag for doing that to me and hundreds of other people. There's a recent claim out there that apparently he did some sketchy long distance stuff with some kind of underage girl, like 5 or 4 year
Ooh,
difference, but I'm not gonna get into that. I don't know much about it. I don't really talk about that kind of stuff unless it's relevant. So anyway,
yeah.
um, yeah, that's my opinion on that question. That was kind of a hard question, but we're through it.
Yep. All right, on to the next question.
All right.
No, no, this is somewhat related to Malenkov.
Ah, all right.
Yes. And well, anyways, there are people who have tried to invest within your own groups, whether it be in terms of general funding or quote unquote technologically. Every group owner knows there are scammers in such investors. Which scammer that you have encountered is which scammer was the dumbest? Considering that there are many stupid scammers in this community. Which one that you've encountered that's tried to scam you is the dumbest?
Well, I've met quite a few in the past month. I don't really know any that were the dumbest. I know there's some scammers that tried to manipulate me, and the way they tried to was silly. Like I think one guy called me a racist because I didn't trade with him. He's like, "I'm from Australia, and the fact he won't trade with me, it was kind of stupid." Like, dude, I don't really care. Like, I know that it's like I don't even know. But anyway, there's this one guy. Yeah, this guy from Australia tried to trade with me. He tried to buy some Grand Gold Army Group off of me, and I'm like, all right, so we can either do a middleman or I can give you the divisions. Let's do the divisions because I don't trust anyone. And I'm like,
Mm,
okay. And I said, all right, so I'll give you all the divisions for my Grand Gold Army Group, and then you pay me half of what you owe me or whatever you're buying the group for. And I give you the main group, or no, then I give you the Discord. You pay the next quarter, and then I give you the main group, and then you pay me the rest. And he said he doesn't want to do the deal because of the
payment
divisions thing.
constrictions.
Yeah, and I said, well, you know what? I'll do the divisions and the Discord. And he said, I don't want to do that either. I'm like, then what do you want to do, dude? He said, I don't know. And I said, well, you want to trade with me? And I'm not giving you the group first. He said, well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, then why are you trading with me? And it was kind of stupid, because it's like, you want to buy a group, and I'm trying to. I don't just do a full on. I'll give you everything, and then you pay me the rest, because it's not
Yeah,
really.
that's stupid.
Yeah. Um, I'll do a middleman, or I'll do like it's a trade-off. You give a few things, they give a few things, and that way, if you get scammed, you know, you get scammed for a minimum of what
The
you were
small
trying to get.
things.
Yeah, yeah, for a very small amount, you know. And
It's
so,
it's not like when you're getting a call from the freaking Nigerian technical
yeah,
Nigerian banks, and we're like, okay, so you give me the money, um, uh, you give me $14 million immediately and put it into this bank account. No, no, no. You're gonna be like, okay, I'll give you the 10,000 first, and then it'll be like a gradual payment. So then I get my payment as well back.
hmm
So then when you actually find out you're scammed, you're like, oh, but I didn't lose $14 million.
right.
Was
Um, yeah. So there's that guy that he tried to scam me. I don't really know about people scamming me, but I've heard other people trying to scam other people, and it didn't really go very well. Um, and they were kind of dumb, but so far that's the dumbest guy that tried to scam me so far that I've met. Because usually scammers are pretty smart. They try to make up some really good guilt trip shit, and I'm like, you make a good point, but then again, I'd rather be
come
safe than
on,
sorry. So,
oh boo hoo, cry me a river with your sob story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Some guy that I tried to do a deal with, he asked me why I'm so cautious about getting scammed. I'm like, well, I just got scammed, and I got scammed like 2 months ago. Well, no, my friend got scammed 2 months ago, out of like 25 USD, and he wanted my help. He said, "Well, the next deal I do, I want you to like be a middleman or something." And I was, and the guy I spoke with tried to say, "Why should I trust you?" He tried to pull me out of the
Try
middleman.
to
Yeah,
keep your confidence.
you know, and he said that
Yeah.
his grandma died or something, and I'm like, "How is that relevant?" I'm like, dude, why do I care if your grandma died? I'm not gonna. That doesn't make me. This is like, sure, I feel bad for you. I'm sorry for you, but I'm not gonna give you money because your grandma died. I'm trying to. That's my opinion, especially over a
Like, I
little game.
feel for you.
Hmm.
Like,
So
don't try to guilt trip me like that because we both know it's bullshit. Now, if you can give me valid proof, like, okay, yeah, I'd understand, but still, like, I'm not going to give you the money
yeah,
because oh, boo hoo, your grandma died. Poor you. Play the world's smallest violin.
yeah.
I remember there was this one moment. You remember the original Fort Alberta map? It was like called, I forget what it was originally called before Fort Alberta.
I remember.
Camp Lethbridge.
Ah,
That was
yes.
what it was called.
Yep.
Lethbridge. Yes, yes. The story with that quite interesting because it was about maybe 2 years ago, but essentially the premise is you have the original Lethbridge, flat terrain and whatnot,
Hmm.
well parts, and Sovereign, Epic as he was known as at the time. And the Supreme Council and me, we decided, okay, we're really going to need a new map because we're really expanding and whatnot. We recently made peace and then joined the League of Nations, the RF, and so we're like, okay, we need a new map. So Sovereign, it's a few days later. Sovereign finds these two guys. They're like, okay, we'll make you a new map for about $10,000. And Sovereign, being naive as he was back then, was like, okay, let's go for it. Now he didn't give them the 10,000 directly, but like he was watching them as they built the map. And needless to say, he was very disappointed with the quality of the work. It's like, what the hell is this? I'm not paying you for this.
That's funny. Huh.
And that's how the that's how Fort Alberta came to be. You have Sovereign, me, Spring Council. We were all building that map. That freaking that river that runs through the map. I made that one. It's minuscule, but I made that, and I got my dev privileges removed because I accidentally added a bunch of free models when I added a fear bunker below the government building, which is still there, by the way.
Funny.
Yeah. Okay, enough of my rambling. Now, final question. Now, as you know, they're really curious about your plans for the future. That being said, okay, well, kind of answer this, but do you think you're gonna form another community or pull a nerfer dude and go on a crusade against, against the evil Jewish allies and whatnot? Trying to freaking. It's been so long since I've said that.
Yeah, yeah,
Done the
yeah.
nerfer dude voice.
Yeah, that meme. I don't think the meme is still around, but I think it's.
The,
I don't know.
the
But anyway,
evil ally Jewish nerfer dude.
yes, yes, yes. Well, you're fine, but I don't really intend to form my own community. Um, I've kind of just been, the sheriff. I haven't really been like the administrator, the owner of the leader of the protagonist. People call me the protagonist nowadays. I'm not really the protagonist, and I'm not the antagonist either. Okay,
It's the
it's
overseer.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm an over. Well, I mean, you could say I'm an overseer, but I'm not really that either, because then that means I'm like over other people. I'm just the
Yeah.
sheriff. I kind of just police people, and I police people to make sure it's a better place for everyone. I don't really want to lead the community, because then it means I'm in control of decisions of other people, and I don't really want to do that.
That's a whole mantle, and
Hmm.
your decision it might affect one group in a positive way, but it will affect another group in excuse me in a negative way.
Right. when it comes to all of that, I kind of just do my own thing, and I use my YouTube channel to expose those who I deem scummy. And so I don't plan to go under for either, though. I don't plan to mass report scummy people. I'll expose them. I'll send people to attack them and do whatever damage they can. But once I'm done doing that, I'm done doing that. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to take them down. I'm going to spend, I'm going to invest a little bit of time and effort to attack them, to get my message out that they're doing scummy shit and they should
Hmm.
stop. And that's what I'm going to do. But that's all I really plan to do with this Korea. If it gets really big and I suddenly just become, I don't know, because I would say
Of the
Lewis
community.
tired, but right now Lewis isn't really
Well,
above me. We're kind of equivalent. Same with Lava. I used to look up to them like a year ago, but I don't know if I would say that they're above me. I would say now we're equivalent. So I don't know.
I have to say, I have to say this really.
Hmm.
Granted, my opinion of lava is going to be shitty, but
Right.
it's not going to. You're really not above. I mean, you're really not below lava. You and lava, you're not like
Yeah.
equivalents right now. Like right now, lava, it's kind of like he's still stuck in his old ways.
Yeah.
And Lewis and whatnot, he's been one that's trying to innovate and whatnot. He's been
Yeah.
trying to really go up and right now. And you guys are about even right now.
Yeah.
About even right there. I have to say, like, as I've worked with them, I must say again that his command structure, everything that he has in terms of preparation for everything, because like I know the people that run that crap.
Hmm.
I've seen the documents, I've seen the work, and it's really all up to date and whatnot. It's really good.
Right.
The staff work is done pretty well. And well, Lavo, he has good staff officers. I mean, he has Alaric and whatnot. He has Reynard, who I still respect, regardless of if he's a Karavec or whatnot.
Hmm.
Like that's about all Lavo has running for him. Lewis, he has the innovation now, and he does have the good staff off, and he does have the really good staff officers with vision. Not the ones that they're gonna sit on their ass and be like, okay, we're gonna leave this to our subordinates to do and whatnot.
Right.
And then you're like trying. I'd say you're more like the equivalent to Lewis, but still somewhat rising above because right now we don't know. Even I don't know what Lewis is doing and
Hmm.
what's
Yeah.
going on with the whole entire new Alemannic map and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with that.
I
I
think
know that a
yeah.
lot of things are prepared though.
I think I have officially and finally achieved the status I've been looking for to kind of get up there because TRI, as good as it was more or less just my introduction. It wasn't really the beginning of my relevancy. And even though it increased my relevancy by 100, it didn't make me Lewis tire. It kind of just got me there. We defeated Lava on the battlefield a lot. We even defeated Lewis, but when we capitulated, Lewis capitulated. We both capitulated. And right after TRI was when I think I officially became relevant. Because then I did Korea with Alex, and people were wanting me into their groups, and everyone wanted me. And I don't mean in an ego way either. People would literally asking me to join their group for Emperor and whatnot, because whenever
Oh
HRA fan
God,
cast wanted me, and whenever Lava wanted me for Korea, and
yeah.
Alex wanted me for Korea too, and when he owned it, and it was all everyone just wanted to, you know. And so after the first Korea, I did my Italy. In Italy, I got 500 members without any ads within the
Would have
first week. That was
I must say
impressive.
that would have been freaking beautiful. I mean, the
Yeah,
army we were recruiting a whole load of officers, and they were all like checked out and vetted and whatnot. We were recruiting those. We were getting all our documents done, and then the party. I mean, I gotta hand it to Earl. He did a very good job with the party.
yeah. The party was like the activity the army had. Like holy shit,
Oh,
50 people.
that was amazing.
That was amazing. The army was pretty good too. They were rallying about 20 people. But yeah, it was massive. But it got deleted, and then I quit
That was
Roblox.
very sad.
Hmm. Well, then I quit Roblox, and well, I didn't really quit Roblox directly. I helped nerf her for a
He
couple
took a
weeks.
break.
Yeah, I took a break. Helped nerf her on the side, and then officially was gone till my return in January, where I did Scotland for a month till that went to shit. Then I did DDR, and then that got deleted, and then I joined Lewis because I was getting tired of all the failing, and then yeah, I think after joining Lewis, it kind of solidified my relevancy because I was doing better than Lavo apparently, according to Lewis's right hand man. I was Lewis's most hardest working. Even
No,
Lavo admits that I was working the
you
hardest.
were doing yeah, you weren't doing extremely better than Lavo. I mean, hoity toity toity. Oh, top of the morning to you. No, he was. You put Lavo in charge of something like it's not exactly gonna end well, considering how much of a traditionalist mindset he has.
Yeah, yeah. So well, that's my opinion on founding or pulling a nerfer dude or anything like that. I don't intend to be the bad guy. I mean, I kind of was the bad guy, but that was an accident. I wasn't trying to be a permanent antagonist like Lewis or something. I was trying to, you know,
Even Lewis, like he's not trying to do all that crap anymore. He's
yeah.
more or less reformed. If anything, it's kind of Lavo. I know I'm dissing on Lavo a lot during this podcast, but let's be honest here.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to vibe. In all honesty, I'm just trying to vibe, and I've been vibing with this Korea. I've been vibing a lot. And I'm very happy that I have Korea. Very happy it's going really well the way it is. It won't last forever, but it will last a while, in my own personal opinion. And when Korea is done, I will continue with another project until I'm done with this platform, and that's how it's going to be. So yeah, that's it tops it all for this question.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to end this.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Certainly was something. Leave a comment below if you wish. Just well, keep it respectful, please. Those are annoying little shits. You all know that. Anyways, have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.